Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is your host, Bruce McGuire, and we have a special report from the one and only Alex Jones today. He released a video talking about the supposedly incoming Civil War 2024 and a very, very bizarre string of predictions of assassinations. Quite mind-shocking. So mind-shocking, in fact, that I had to do this analysis on it because his track record, especially when compared to the mainstream media, all those goof anchors, and I mean, what's their track record? I mean, it's abysmal. The amount of deaths they caused with what they said. I mean, how many deaths has Alex Jones actually caused through allegedly false reporting? And yet, of course, the coincidence there is goofs, the statists, the authority-worshipping cultist bootlickers. They will, of course, say that he needs to be fined trillions of dollars and put in prison for saying potentially mean and untrue things, where they let all the other news anchors off the hook who have literally cost countless lives through their false reporting. So we will be examining all of this and more in typical MINDSHOCK fashion, with logic and reason at the forefront. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. You can also like and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic, logical analysis, co-podcast requests. You can also be a guest on the podcast, depending on your tier. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunks of any kind, leave them in the comment section, or if you're with us live in the live chat. And you can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. So, I don't know how many people have actually seen this, but we'll jump right in. I mean, we've covered the topic briefly here and there. End of the world, Armageddon, and also, of course, potential Civil War situations. Will there actually be an official Civil War 2.0 2024? Or will it be kind of like it's been going the past couple years, where it's kind of just this, I guess, hodgepodge of incidents, I guess? I mean, unless they're planning something really big with all of the illegals going over the border and all of the cells that have allegedly been festering over decades. I mean, even back in the late 90s, there were not just Hollywood movies, but news reports about, monitoring so-called cells. I mean, even pre 9/11, there was some talk, not a lot, but there was some talk of cells. Obviously, post 9/11, there were a lot of movies about that, and this is before all of this immigration. So, is it all just going to continue as, the trajectory of just a hodgepodge of incidents, possibly increasing incidents, possibly more spread out, but nothing official, not a full-scale Civil War? I don't know. Of course, it's really tough to tell, but let's see the predictions of Alex Jones. I hope everybody's strapped in here, because some of these are truly, truly mind-shocking, even for Jones, which is saying something.
When they go to full martial law, there's a very good chance they're going to go ahead and kill Trump. And I would predict the same day they kill Trump, they'll probably kill Senator Paul or try.
I mean, this is kind of crazy because, I mean, Alex is just going flat out, all out here. I mean, this is crazy.
They'll kill Matt Gaetz. They'll try to kill me, and they'll go ahead because they know Joe's awakening, or they're going to go ahead and kill Joe Rogan.
I mean, is anybody surprised by how bold these claims are? I mean, he released this through his own Twitter.
They'll kill Joe. And, they've already got plans how to do it, how to line it up. One guy they'll claim was a murder-suicide. Oh, he killed himself, and, or shot his wife and killed himself. Oh, this guy.
That's dark. I wonder if Joe Rogan's going to respond to this.
Died of a heroin overdose. Oh, this guy was in a shootout. This guy got carjacked. But they may not even care and just go to our houses and just launch hand grenades into the thing. I mean, they're not going to care at that point. All right? And they're going to have communists just green lit, just burning courthouses, burning buildings, just torching everything.
So he's kind of going with the all-out Civil War scenario with mass assassinations, starting with Trump. I mean, these are bold claims. These are bold claims.
So you'll have cities on fire everywhere, just people looting, murdering. The police will all be, hiding in the police stations.
You know another thing that's kind of crazy? See, he's been saying similar things 10, 20 years. No one batted an eye. All the coincidence theorists just thought he was crazy. But with his current track record, it's kind of alarming to listen to this now. It's just a little bit alarming, just based on his track record.
People will be firing grenades into the police stations. The 30 million illegal aliens, it's not 20 million, it's not 10 million. The 30 million illegal aliens who all got smartphones from
30 million? If that number is accurate, that's staggering. The U.S. military is 2.079 million. And also close to 1 million civilians in some type of employment. So that's 2.86 million in the U.S. military. 2.86 million. Alex Jones is saying there are 30 million illegals. Now, of the 30 million, I mean, even if half are, legitimate families seeking a better life, or even more than half, that still leaves millions and millions, way more than the numbers of the U.S. military. And, wow, this is kind of shocking. Wow. There are less than 1 million full-time police officers in the U.S. In 2022, there were 708,000. So, not even 750,000 police officers. So, when you look at it, again, even if Alex's numbers are way off, it's still kind of alarming that there are more potentially military-aged illegals with possible connections to dubious or nefarious groups than the entire size of the U.S. military and law enforcement. Alien Big Cat 23 says, keep the people armed. How many civilians, how many guns? Half of the guns in the entire world are in the U.S. So, the U.S. adult population is 258.3 million. Now, the problem is most of that is in cities, and these are goofs with no guns. These are soy goofs living in cities. Just these scrawny soy goofs. So, I mean, if let's say, if 80% of that so maybe 200 million adults, wait, actually it'd be the other way around. So that would be 50 million adults or less are rural. So that's interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, this is kind of scary. This is kind of scary.
The UN and the 10 million military-aged men they brought in, they'll go out and hit all the targets they're supposed to hit.
Okay, so he's saying 10 million military-aged. So that's more than that's basically almost five times more than the entire U.S. military and law enforcement.
And it's the end of the country. So that's where we are.
While other networks
And then when they yell car, the car's done nothing to him. Then that's their reason to attack him, drag him out of the car. He escapes. They later catch him and beat him half to death. He's in the hospital. It's just some student took a wrong turn. Meanwhile, you got the frat boys out with their American Israeli flags, making fun of black people and hopping around like monkeys. This is all of the idiocy as the temperature gets turned up to the boiling point. This is the angrier world George Soros said would bring in their New World Order, and that Klaus Schwab said would bring in their New World Order. Now, if you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen,
what is the process for trying to track these people down? I mean, is this something?
I'm about to lay out where we are. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Jones. It is Friday, May 3rd, 2024. And we can put the full show headline up on screen, please. This is a maximum red alert, and I am been aware of this for a while, so have most of you. But it's a statement that has to be made.
Maximum red alert. Again, let's keep Jones's track record in mind here.
That we are on the cusp, going into the first major stages, and the dominoes have already fallen, to trigger civil unrest in every Western country of the world, leading to what will be billed as civil wars that will lead to civil emergency and martial law. Emergency, Friday broadcast. Alex Jones, that's yours truly, has confirmed that the globalist deep state has already set in motion civil unrest leading to civil war and martial law. We can mitigate this, perhaps even stop it. Please share and watch the live show link from Infowars.com/show. Band.video and Real Alex Jones on X. And please follow me there and share the live feed from there. Now, there are 100 ways plus to try to describe this and break this down, but I think I should just first talk about the preparation of the last decade for this, really accelerating under Obama, and the social engineers studying the demographics and sociology of every sector and then tailoring the destabilization plan for the region that the Five Eye intelligence agencies and tax-free foundations with their willing accomplices and bought and paid for controlled media are putting out. So there's a lot of places to start, but let's just go to the defunding of the police even before Trump was driven from office via election fraud 3.5 years ago.
And let me just reiterate for YouTube and the wiki fact checkers, there's obviously no evidence of any kind of fraud in elections. I mean, clearly, the government, who would suspect the government and people involved in the government of any kind of wrongdoing? Have people not studied history at all? Obviously, there have never been manipulated elections in any country ever. And obviously, there wouldn't be any now. What kind of goof would actually think that people in positions of power would ever do anything shady in any way? Man, what is Alex Jones smoking here?
You then saw the Soros-controlled mayors and DAs and attorney generals all across the United States in almost every major city that they control. They control almost every major city, even most sub-cities, to defund the police on average by about 40%, and then to intimidate the police, not to be able to do their job, and to throw the book at them and prosecute them if they make any type of mistake, or even when they don't make a mistake, to make them be paralyzed to not go out and stop crime. And you have laws passed in 10 states and several hundred cities like San Francisco, Portland, Chicago, New York, where even if you steal, depending on the city or state, $1,000, $2,000, up to $5,000 in some cities, out of a store, a grocery store, a clothing store, a Walgreens, you name it, that you will not be prosecuted. That's just one example of the destabilization. The defunding of the police in places like Minneapolis, Minnesota, where then the...
You know what's kind of crazy? Watching all these clips. Now, obviously, this stuff isn't going on every second of every day, or at least I don't think it is based on the news reports. But even these kinds of sporadic incidents that are becoming more and more frequent, it's almost like there's already a civil war situation. It just hasn't gone to full blast yet. It's still in the hodgepodge, incident here, incident there. Before there's no official all-out breakout across all cities. It's just isolated incidents or semi-isolated incidents so far. But when you're watching all these clips with the Alex Jones commentary and predictions, plus knowing his track record, I mean, this is quite mind-shocking.
Mayor and others hired private security 24 hours a day, millions of dollars a year just for themselves while cutting the police by 50%. So when you do that, and I saw another story out of Texas yesterday where the man, and I saw another story out of Georgia where Soros DAs, in one case the man had 90+ convictions, armed robbery, sexual assault, you name it. He was let out again, and then one guy kidnapped a woman and raped her. Another guy got out and then shot a bunch of police. I mean, you just, and it's just a blip on the radar. Oh, 4 dead cops, bloop, no big deal. Just bloop. Don't even say the cops' names. Just, yeah, 4 dead cops, 6 or 7 more wounded, bloop, kidnapped woman, rape woman. It's just a little bloop. You imagine if a cop gets some fentanyl overdosing, poor black person, and then they die while the cops put them in handcuffs, and then, oh my God, the cop, murder, we got to burn the country down. And they make it the biggest thing ever. But meanwhile, did you know something like 14 police were killed in the last week nationwide? 4 in one pop from a felon who'd been released over and over again from prison? Yeah, there it is. 4 law officers serving warrant are killed, 4 wounded in a shootout in North Carolina and Georgia and in Texas, and it's just barely in the news, just bleep. Now, again, you can hate the police all day, but the point is when the left fully takes over the country, they're going to run the police, and then you really won't like them. No,
wow, that's an interesting point there. That's an interesting point there. Wow. I mean, that is an interesting point.
The police are one of the last institutions they haven't taken over yet in every area, but they're doing it. And they did to purge the military with the poison shots and critical race theory and transgenderism. That's exactly what they wanted, to put their people in key positions.
Just another YouTube wiki fact check. Obviously, there's no evidence to anything Alex Jones just said there. Obviously, that's all coincidence. There's no actual evidence of anything nefarious. It's not like there's any kind of record fines or sanctions on any of these companies with these medical treatments. They haven't been found guilty of fraud, and definitely not to the tunes of billions and billions, the greatest world record sanctions and fines in history. Obviously, that's not true. So don't just take, don't just let Alex slide there by saying that criminals commit crimes. Maybe not. Maybe not. This is MindShock. I don't claim anything is true or untrue. I mean, the big pharma cartel always has the people's best interest, right? Right? I mean, I don't claim anything is true or untrue. I'm just asking. I mean, it must, right?
So they've got control of most of the military. They're getting control of the police. They've defunded the police. They've defunded it for the citizens. Jurisdictions all over the country, from Illinois to Texas, you say, hey, from midnight to 6 a.m., no police will respond when you're getting broken into. And then if you do one thing wrong or don't say the right thing, when you shoot a burglar breaking in your house, Soros DAs are going to throw your ass under the jail. There's another one, 3 officers shot in Louisiana in fatal standoff with gunmen. I mean, I can't even keep track of it. I didn't even know about that one a couple days ago. So where are their names? Where are their families? Where are their crying wives and widows at press conferences? There is no interest in that because we don't want to humanize the police. But they're just waiting for a Kent State event to happen. They're just waiting for another George Floyd to happen. And Soros has spent billions, and he gets money from the State Department. He's just the front man, so the State Department doesn't have their hands directly in it. The State Department is funding billions and billions to bring illegals in and brainwash them against America, sign them up to vote, while at the same time funding billions of dollars to fund the Tides Foundation and the Sunrise Foundation, all these other groups, and to bail these people out when they're violent. And then when the frat boys and the right-wingers go out who are sick of them, every little thing they do that's wrong gets magnified to make it a left-right battle, because the globalists want Americans fighting with each other. They want to turn the heat up ahead of the summer of rage that's coming that'll make 2020 look tame in comparison. I'm guaranteeing, not predicting, guaranteeing.
Wow. Buckle up, people. It's going to be a rough one, according to Alex Jones. I mean, this is interesting. I mean, the other thing I'm sure this is all coincidental, but what is up with election years being weird? I mean, I'm sure it's all mere coincidence. I mean, there's no way it's not mere coincidence. But, you know, it's kind of weird. But that's Alex Jones' bold prediction. The heat turned up in some kind of 2024 civil war.
Then they'll get enough incidences and enough Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, crisis actors, which we know they send in, like Charlottesville, to stir things up enough.
Wikipedia fact check. And fact check for YouTube. There's obviously zero evidence of any kind of crisis actors being used anywhere at any time. It's obviously just people who happen to look exactly the same, sometimes having the same name. It happens. It happens. They're obviously not crisis actors. I mean, enough with the crazy conspiracy. Just because people look exactly the same, and they might have the same name, and they just so happen to have been at all these different events all over the country, that doesn't mean it was a hired crisis actor. I mean, come on, people. What is going on here? Farious indeed.
And then there will be false flags. And false flags can be a crazy person you wind up, or it can be purely staged, or it can be done by a corporate group or a mercenary group. But it's going to be something that's going to be blamed on conservatives and nationalists. We saw that in the June National Security Directive by President Biden, where he said the #1 terror threat is, what, white supremacist, and that they're causing the most crime in America, which is completely fake statistic and just asinine.
And again, another wiki fact check for Wiki and YouTube. I hope YouTube's listening here. Obviously, there's never been any evidence of any false flags in history. That's just a made-up conspiracy theorist concept. There have never been any ever in any war, and certainly not every single war has been started with one. I mean, that's just definitely not true. That just can't be true. That there's anything that would point to that is definitely mere coincidence. It's definitely mere coincidence. There's nothing wrong with being a coincidence theorist, no matter how high the coincidence stack goes, maintaining the faith that governments are not the #1 cause of death in history, because obviously the democide statistics are all made up. I mean, obviously governments don't kill their own citizens, and they definitely don't execute false flags. So, just know, I want to make sure I get these fact checks out for YouTube.
And you heard there's an epidemic of whites killing Asians. Doesn't even really exist. Just totally pulled out of the FBI's rear end. Then the FBI started 2 years ago, in over 100 major cities, 102 major cities, the 102 biggest cities, stop reporting crime statistics, period. So they could say crime hasn't gone up.
Well, maybe that was out of context. I mean, maybe the government workers are just lazy. Maybe they're not intentionally not reporting those numbers. I mean, there could be an explanation here. Let's not go overboard, Alex Jones.
Yeah, there's Biden calls white supremacy most dangerous terror threat in speech at Howard. So they're priming the pump and setting the battle space for the false flags.
Priming the pump. Priming the pump. Interesting. Very interesting. You know, watching this next year might be an experience. It might be. I mean, watching a lot of these other conspiracy videos back, I mean, yeah, watching some of these other ones back, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I'm gonna do a poll in a little bit on some of his predictions to see where all the chat is at.
That are going to be committed against black grocery stores, black colleges, black churches. About a month before the election, I'd say about 155 days from now is when I'm guessing. And
Just specific, not 150, not 160, 155 days. Now, why would he make a prediction that specific? Does he have some kind of documents?
I mean, and us putting this out may make him change the battle plan. About 155 days.
About 155. Oh man, this is interesting.
From now. So it's 185 days to the election. So about a month out from the election, about 155 days from now, we'll go into the zone, and black church is going to get hit. Black grocery stores are going to get hit. Black colleges are going to get hit. Then synagogues are going to get blown up, truck bombed. Federal buildings will then get hit, truck bombed. And then civil emergency is going to be declared. Trump is going to be blamed, and they have no intention of even letting us go to the ballots. Now, that's one plan scenario I see. They've got a bunch.
Does anybody know what ethnic background Alex Jones is? Is he white, black, Asian? Does anybody know? Should we do a poll on that? Let's do a poll on that. So the poll is up now. What is Alex Jones' ethnic background? Because it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, is he Asian? I mean, I can't really tell. Black, Asian. I mean, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Let's see what the result is here. %50 white, 25% too triggered to answer, 8% no, 17% mutt. Elaine says, I heard he was originally Bill Hicks. Better look into Hicks' background. Pinto Sack says, race is a social construct. So would that mean too triggered to would that be a vote for too triggered to answer? The standard lib position. I actually had a video where he revealed his ethnic background. I'm trying to find it right now. YouTube actually removed it. YouTube's been purging a lot of my stuff. It was YouTube removed this video as well. It was a while ago. It was short, but let me see if I can find it. I think it's very relevant here. I think this is it's very relevant, so I'm really gonna try to find it. Okay, I think I might be able to get it. Yeah, YouTube might remove this stream as well. I am doing backups, but what was weird with the Isaac Cappy stream, somehow all the backups got corrupted. That's never happened before. I mean, even with the top secret NASA occult patches, it didn't corrupt everything. So, yeah, I don't think I can get that back. I mean, we did have quite a few people watching. I think there were close to 100 people who watched that stream live on Isaac Cappy yesterday. I was hoping at least one of them would be doing some kind of archive of just recording the stream. And then there was another couple hundred people who watched it before it went down. So if somebody saved it, that would be nice, because everything I have on that stream is now completely corrupt. All the files got corrupted. So I guess, I mean, I should probably do a simulcast where it's going to Rumble and BitChute as well as YouTube, just because it should stay up there. I guess I didn't learn my lesson. Maybe I'll have to start doing that soon. But yeah, I really didn't think YouTube would take it down. I don't know why. I guess just because because even the Occult NASA one, it's still up. It's just the stream got shut down. Like even the Steven Seagal ones, they shut the stream down, but it's still up. So I don't know. It's weird. They got a unique shadow banning type of thing going on with their censoring, where they're not being too obvious. Yeah, it seems like Cappy is really on the restricted list as far as covering. I saw a few YouTube not deep dives, but some kind of dives into him. So I didn't think it was like 100% of a banned topic. Does the MindShock BitChute not work? Try the Rumble. I was using the Rumble more than the BitChute, but okay. So wow. I don't know why there's such an issue getting... Okay. Everything's really laggy right now, too. I mean... Oh, actually, you know what? Odyssey. Let me check something. I might have had a redundant backup. I might have actually had a redundant streaming backup on the Cappy stream. Hold on a second. I actually should have had two, but they're delayed, so I'm not sure. Let me I forgot about those. Redundant backups are awesome. Let me check those. Because that would be cool if there was enough time that it actually did do an archive. Just give me a second. Uh-oh! Uh-oh, yes! Yes! It was able to do a redundant copy. I have it. I have it. Oh man, this is crazy because it completely corrupted all of the files on my end. But I do have a redundant stream here. So I will be putting that on the Rumble. Nice. Wow, that's cool. Because, yeah, I put a lot of effort into that stream. This modern day book burning is nonsense. Yeah, I'll put it on Rockfin and Rumble. So, okay, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Let me just make a few extra copies of the redundant stream as well. Because, yeah, I thought that might have been lost just because I've never gotten everything corrupted like that before. give me an extra second around this out. We'll be back to Jones in a second. See, being paranoid pays off. Being paranoid pays off. Not one, but 2 redundant streams with copies, because one of the redundant streams didn't work. So you gotta have at least 2. And this stream is severely lagging now. I don't know how bad it is for everybody else, but we are having some issues here. This is weird. I'm hoping I don't have to restart the stream or do a second parter on the stream, because we are, yeah, on my end it's incredibly lagging here. It doesn't do this on true crime, on just standard run-of-the-mill true crime podcast. That's interesting, isn't it? All right, so let's end the poll here. Alex Jones, 62% white, so not, I mean, you know, a little more than half believe that he's white. Okay. So, Pinto Sagas, how many floppy disks does a typical MindShock stream use? A lot. Okay, I'm still getting a huge lag here. I really don't know why it's doing this. This is really bizarre. I really don't want to restart the stream, but it is lagging so hard right now. You guys are saying it's okay, but on my end it is not okay. Okay, I found the clip, so let's
walk out of a
let's see. Alex Jones reveals his ethnicity in this clip here. This is a formerly deleted clip on YouTube. It was a short I put up, and apparently YouTube didn't like it.
a restaurant and they're having a biker rally. And it wasn't like a nice biker rally. Most rallies are nice people. It was like thug wannabes rode up with a motorcycle and were revving it, looking at me. And I was thinking, okay, all right, that guy's taking his helmet off. I'm going to punch him in the throat the minute he tries to get up and do something. And then I'm going to assault those next three guys. Then they'll probably pull a weapon. I need to take that. I mean, that's what I'm thinking whenever something like that's going on. I can't help it. I'm thinking, all right, I'm ready to kill. I mean, that's just how I am. And I'm thinking, all right, okay, instantly assess these guys. These are probably ex-con, real criminals. I've got my 3 kids here. I'm a white guy. That gives me, just turbo dinosaur power. And I'm thinking, control yourself. Don't have a fight unless you've absolutely got to. The man in me is ready to take them all on. You know what I'm talking about out there, don't you? You scum. I hate gang members and filth. And it has nothing to do with black people. I'm a white guy. But I will stomp your head in if you start a fight with me, you thug scum. And walk out of a restaurant.
Let's watch that one more time. I don't think everyone in the chat appreciated this Alex Jones rant. Turbo dinosaur power.
And they're having a biker rally. And it wasn't like a nice biker rally. Most rallies are nice people. It was like thug wannabes rode up with a motorcycle and were revving it, looking at me. And I was thinking, okay, all right, that guy's taking his helmet off. I'm going to punch him in the throat the minute he tries to get up and do something. And then I'm going to assault those next 3 guys. Then they'll probably pull a weapon. I need to take that. I mean, that's what I'm thinking whenever something like that's going on. I can't help it. I'm thinking, all right, I'm ready to kill. I mean, that's just how I am. And I'm thinking, all right, okay, instantly assess these guys. These are probably ex-con, real criminals. I've got my 3 kids here. I'm a white guy. That gives me, just turbo dinosaur power. And I'm thinking, control yourself. Don't have a fight unless you've absolutely got to. The man in me is ready to take them all on. You know what I'm talking about out there, don't you? You scum. I hate gang members and filth. And it has nothing to do with black people. I'm a white guy. But I will stomp your head in if you start a fight with me, you thug scum.
Okay, So there he revealed his ethnicity as well as quite a few tendencies for combat. Okay, let's continue.
Others, they got a handful of cards, but the ace of spades is the false flag. But they got some wild cards in there as well. So they got some aces. But we've got the royal flush because we understand the battle plan. And we're able to communicate with the people. So that's one scenario. And I want to explain kind of the trajectory of how they've been building this up. Because I only am covering the racial component. But they know people kind of saw through the George Floyd thing, and 3 times the numbers of blacks are set to vote for Trump and double the number of Hispanics in many polls, more than half Hispanics. In many polls, upwards of 50% of black males, 30% of black females. That scares the hell out of the left. So they're going to need to hit them to try to then blame Trump.
The other thing we have to wonder about, how much of all these apocalyptic movies over the past 2-3 decades, how much of that was predictive programming? All these movies about societal collapse, I mean, zombies. I actually have a podcast on zombies coming up. I think there's a lot more to zombies than meets the eye. See, we have zombies in the literal sense, because you have several, countries now. I mean, even places in what? California, Portland, where people are eating, cannibalizing people, Haiti, some of these other countries where you have literal zombie cannibals. People on bath salts, that was a thing for a while. And then you also have the metaphorical zombies, the goofs addicted to their cell phones with the fluoride stares, who just are wandering through life with their brains turned off. So the zombie apocalypse is a multifaceted thing, and we might be in the middle of it right now. If you haven't checked out the Goofatorium series on MindShock, check it out, because there's, I mean, it's scary out there with how much brains have rotted, and there are just people just basically ambling around. I mean, they don't appear to be fully functional humans. All right, I have to double check the stream health here. I don't want this to get crazy. I don't want to have to restart this. Give me maybe 2-3 minutes and I can keep this stream up. Sorry about that, people. Yeah, I don't know. This stream is really weird on my end. It's not showing. It's not showing a good signal. But apparently we're still up, so I guess we'll just keep going.
But that's not enough because people see through that. That's why they gave $6 billion to Iran, who's working behind the scenes with the CIA and Mossad, to then train and finish the training, and that was the final payment. That's why the West has given, under Obama and now under Biden, it was like $100 billion to Iran, about $99 billion last time I checked, for this long-term project. And it's all plausible deniability. They're like, wink, wink. Biden gives the final payment of $6 billion on a month before, 29 days before, the October 7th. Israel stands down for 7.5 hours. Hamas is told, oh, you're going in to get hostages so that you can get our people back. But that was all a setup. Obviously, then the leaders of Hamas outside the country knew they were about to get tens of billions more in funding as aid. They allow the sacrifice and execution of their people. Those that survive, millions are loaded, and they're finishing the pier right now. And Biden announced 2 days ago, they're going to bring 1 million of the Gaza survivors, and a bunch of them will be terrorists, to the United States. And that'll be happening before the election.
You know what is kind of scary, though? If this was all true, and I'm not claiming it is, again, I don't claim anything is true or untrue on MindShock. The motto here, of course, is, the only thing we know for sure is that we don't know anything for sure. But if this was all true, think about the level of mobilization of illegals over the past few decades. If there really are cells and they're ready to strike, I mean, that's kind of a scary thought. Millions upon millions upon millions of them. I mean, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, even though U.S. civilians have half the guns in all the world, it's still not, I mean, it's going to be crazy. If things pop off the way Alex Jones is predicting here, flat out guaranteeing even, I mean, pretty crazy.
Perfect timing. And so the CIA, MI6, the EU, Interpol, the Iranians, they're all in on it together, 100%, no doubt. Soros then funds the left for the uprisings. The right wing sees it, goes out and fights them. That turns up the temperature to see the sides all colliding and fighting. And then the intelligence agencies, and they might use German intelligence. They've used them for Oklahoma City.
It's a shame Alex Jones didn't have Steven Seagal phone in on this one. I mean, Seagal's out there training Russian military. I mean, who knows what's going on over there? Justin Johnson. I mean, doesn't everybody know Seagal's the greatest to ever live? I mean, doesn't everybody know that?
They might use British intelligence. Mossad kind of got caught with hands in cookie jar on 9/11, so they might, you know, pass the ball on this one. I don't know which group's going to carry it out. Might be a Merc group they hire. They might be able to get some mentally ill people to do some of the attacks, wind-up toys. And you've got all the preparation for this ready. So get everybody fighting over Israel and Palestine, and then really it's just a communist uprising cover to get that all formed and ready, to get the right wing to come out and play and be part of the whole thing. You'll have provocateurs, ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, dressed up, obviously saying horrible things, doing terrible things. You'll have some real idiots to do it. That'll raise the temperature more. And then simultaneously, they're going to hit the Jews first. In fact, earlier I was saying they'll probably shoot up some black churches and black universities first. But before they go to full martial law, that's the warm-up. Then, secondly, they will hit the synagogues, and at the same time hit federal buildings. And they like truck bombs because that's plausibly deniable, and you can't really catch who did it. And then out of that, it won't be called martial law, but it'll be called a civil emergency. Then they'll claim the Russians hit the power grid.
I mean, these are some very specific predictions, aren't they? And again, it's kind of alarming just due to Alex Jones's track record. Again, that doesn't mean anything he's saying is true, but just due to the track record, it's kind of hard to dismiss a conspiracy theorist in 2024, isn't it? It's kind of hard. I mean, if you have a working brain, it's kind of hard to just outright dismiss them. Not that they're correct, but it's hard to just dismiss knowing what has transpired.
And part of the power grid will go down. And then they'll claim the Russians have hit the banks. And then they'll tank the economy, claiming it's the Russians that did it, and part of the power grid, and you're in full martial law. And then for issues of national security, to get the banks back on, to get the power back on in some areas, to stop the burning cities, with the left out just torching everything, Biden, will have to declare a national emergency, and they'll have to crack down on disinformation on all sides. And they'll turn off the funding to Hamas, and turn off the funding to their minions, and turn off the funding to Black Lives Matter. And they'll turn off all the little nationalist patriot front that are clearly feds that are wound up running around. And then all those guys that are being used, they'll be shut down again.
Jane Creek said, I used to love Alex back in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. Now I think he's just a shill and opportunistic. He's just as likely to fake things up as be genuine. Yeah, but what about everything he called during the lockdowns, Operation Lockstep and all of that? I mean, he was waving all that around, months, if not a year or two before? I mean, that was kind of, I mean, if you go back and look at those episodes, that's kind of creepy on how he called it, and everybody called him crazy and said there's no way there would be this widespread, worldwide, complete shutdown with all the governments in on it, etc.
But later brought back when they're needed. But in the wake of that, the people exposing all of this, the folks trying to stop it, the Tucker Carlsons, the Alex Joneses, they will be taken off the air. And I don't say this to be dramatic. When they go to full martial law, there's a very good chance they're going to go ahead and kill Trump. And I would predict the same day they kill Trump, they'll probably kill Senator Paul or try. They'll kill Matt Gaetz. They'll try to kill me, and they'll go ahead because they know Joe's awakening, or they're going to go ahead and kill Joe Rogan. They'll kill Joe.
You know what else is kind of creepy? How many people have predicted their own deaths? Because Alex is basically doing it right now.
And they've already got plans how to do it, how to line it up. One guy they'll claim was a murder-suicide. Oh, he killed himself, and or shot his wife and killed himself. Oh, this guy, died of a heroin overdose. Oh, this guy was in a shootout. This guy got carjacked. But they may not even care and just go to our houses and just launch hand grenades into the thing. I mean, they're not going to care at that point. All right? And they're going to have communists just green lit, just burning courthouses, burning buildings, just torching everything. So you'll have cities on fire everywhere, just people looting, murdering. The police will all be, hiding in the police stations. People will be firing grenades into the police stations. The 30 million illegal aliens, it's not 20 million, it's not 10 million. The 30 million illegal aliens.
AJD says, kind of easy to predict something if you're doing it yourself, inside info, but beyond the obvious presidential assassination, I think it's a crock. What, the Civil War, the civil unrest? I mean, that's already happening. Alex is basically just saying it's going to be turned up quite a few notches, which it already has been over the past couple of years. So basically, if it continues on its current trajectory, I mean, it's really not that outlandish what he's claiming. Jane Creek said, he's not stupid, he's been right about a lot. He has also pushed crap to get people riled up. Look at what he did in 1999 New Year's. So, and then Bill Cooper despised him. Cooper, that suicide. Okay, two different issues here. Before we get to Bill Cooper, do you not know about the Y2K conspiracy? Y2K did happen. There were outages and shutdowns They obviously didn't report them because the US government was not going to come out and say, oh, by the way, our air defense system went down for a few hours that night. They're obviously not. How is anybody? I mean, what is the expectation from the coincidence theorists for any admissions during Y2K? I was actually going to do a follow up podcast on that. I don't know if you could say Alex was completely wrong. So people fed him certain information, some of which was probably disinfo in terms of any kind of large scale shutdown. Although we really don't know, because we don't know if there was going to be a big shutdown, and somehow, I don't know, who knows? Maybe, I don't know, maybe there were white hats who actually prevented more mass shutdown, and we would never know, right? Like, how would we know if it was, depending on the level of this situation? So I don't know why people point to New Year's or Y2K New Year's as Alex being wrong, because there were reports of major, major security issues during the switchover. Now, they didn't last very long, supposedly, but they did. Obviously, they would not be admitting that. And regarding Bill Cooper, yes, Bill Cooper said that Alex Jones was a shell. And Bill Cooper, obviously the OG, Bill Cooper also not alive, so that definitely lends him a lot of credibility, but yeah, I mean, yeah. Jane Creek says, he said that we were being attacked by Russia, which obviously didn't happen. Well, there were security attacks. I don't know what you mean by obviously. How would anybody know? Like, they weren't going to admit that. You expect Russia to admit that? You expect the U.S. to admit that they got hacked? I mean, I don't know to what extent they got hacked, if at all, but there were whistleblowers who said that the systems were compromised for a certain amount of hours on Y2K. So I don't know how anything is obvious about that situation. Then there is the question of how he got into Bohemian Grove. That is a much bigger question. That is, well, so Moloch, lying about the owl being Moloch. Well, a lot of people say the owl is Moloch. A lie would mean an intentional deception. Again, I'm not saying he is or isn't lying, but again, depending on what you read, Moloch was depicted as a horned owl. Just like many other entities, they're depicted many different ways, and it is difficult to verify that. There are some sources there are I mean, there's a lot of crossover between the ancient Babylonians, ancient Native Americans, the world over. The horned owl is an occult symbol. Now, whether I mean, I don't really want to spend a ton of time on this, but the horned owl also appears in Greek and Roman mythology. I mean, I really need to do a dedicated episode on this. It also appears in petroglyphs, various Native Americans. So there's some crossover in the occult. Now, whether or not that was 100% verified and connected to Moloch specifically, instead of the generic idea of the god of sacrifice, Moloch, I mean, that's all up to much debate, obviously.
Who all got smartphones from the UN and the 10 million military-age men they brought in, they'll go out and hit all the targets they're supposed to hit. And it's the end of the country. So that's where we are. And but notice who doesn't get killed. Notice who doesn't get wiped out. It'll be the leftist and the right-wingers that are making it all racial. They'll all, mysteriously, they'll all be okay. And, they'll all be protected so they can do this again if they need to down the road. And that's why Bernie Sanders and the rest of them are out there saying, this is Biden's Vietnam. They're just replaying the uprisings of the 60s, but they're going to make it far worse. And by the way, the Democrats have all said, we've got a bill introduced to strip the military power from Trump if he's president-elect during uprisings. They said this a few months ago. And they said, we believe a civil war is imminent, all the movies and all the shows. And they were talking about doing it when he's president-elect because they want to wait and see if they can steal it. But now they're so sure he's going to win because they don't have enough dead people and people out of district to vote that they're going to go ahead and do it before. Now, remember, they can launch it after he's president-elect or they can do it before, but they're never going to let him, unless we stop them, we can talk about how we do that, get into the office. Okay? So you're about to see the movie Civil War for real. And I just think you all better get right with Jesus now and understand this is it. This is the end of the United States of America if the people at the Justice Department and at the Pentagon and at the CIA who are not read in on this but are read in on part of it and realize what's happening don't go public with press conferences, expose the whole thing now, and let's just stop this, all right? Because I've studied history, and I will tell you, if you think going along with this by knowing it's happening, keeping your mouth shut, and you work in a big corporation or you work in an intelligence agency, you're the first people, once they secure their takeover, that they are going to kill. They're not going to put you in prison. They're not going to spend time setting you up. They're going to kill you, and you know that. So if you want to be like Jens Rome and the SA on Night of the Long Knives, be my guest. But I'm telling you, this is happening.
I mean, these are very, very explicit claims here by Alex Jones. Very, very explicit. They can't be misunderstood in no uncertain terms. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, this is probably his boldest prediction in recent times.
This is going down. All right. So I stake everything I've known in 30 years of fighting these people, and I was awake way before that, on what I'm telling you. And look, you can see it all. I consider it add thousands of more points, how they're doing it, how they're rolling it out. This lets Iran suppress its people. It's let Israel suppress its people. It lets Hamas be even bigger in the world and kind of the Islamic leaders now and get all these funds and reorganize and always give Israel the enemy they need. That's why Israel founded Hamas. And I sit there and I expose this Hegelian dialectic and I get attacked by the Muslims. Oh, you're not for us. And I get attacked by the anti-Israel people saying, oh, look, you're giving Israel a free pass. No, I'm explaining that this is synthetic. I'm explaining that this is a manipulation. I'm doing the opposite.
This seems kind of crazy to me. Is he saying that all these corrupt politicians would engage in corruption for their own benefit? That seems like a stretch to me. I mean, I don't know about everybody else out there. It seems like kind of a stretch, doesn't it? That there would be some kind of conspiracy involving the most corrupt people in the world. I mean, it just seems like a stretch, doesn't it? Anybody else thinks it's does anybody else out there think it's a stretch? I don't know. I don't know.
That's why the CIA and the FBI have tried to shut us down. Only by the grace of God are we still here, and because a lot of good people have put out the truth. So I don't like having to get up here and tell you all this. And I think you already know it, don't you? In your gut, your spirit, intellectually. But this is it. Now, when we come back, I'm going to continue on, and then I'm going to launch in like 5 minutes a Spaces on the fact that has civil war already begun? And how do we stop this total takeover? But this is it. And then once they've got us, carbon lockdowns, vaccine passports, a new virus will be released. But they want to first get rid of all their political opposition and have a big burnout. And it's happening. And the CIA...
What the heck is going on? I got some black helicopters out here. Give me a second. Let me see what's going on outside. I don't see them, but they're pretty loud. Like invisible helicopters circling. It's kind of weird. It's probably, this is pretty weird. Definitely one of the weirdest streams ever, from Cappy to this stream the past 2 days. Very weird. I wonder if you guys can hear that through the mic, but, I mean, I do have high noise cancellation, but they're pretty loud.
Are experts at overthrowing governments using civil unrest. They're doing it to us now. So they already tried the censorship. They already stole a couple of elections. They've already been through those permutations. And now they're going to their last thing. And that's a coup against the American people and the American system, not just Trump, but a coup against you and your freedom and your future. And they want to zip it up by, oh, we're the mediators. We're the wardens. The prison head, you know, well, you guys were all fighting and we had to come in and fix it. That's in the IMF World Bank documents that got leaked in 2001. It's a 112-point plan. And they say in there, we fund civil unrest. We fund whatever groups we can to clash. So that's the cover for us collapsing things. And the old monetary system goes down. The central bank digital currencies come
This video from Alex was put out May 3rd, 2024.
out. The mark of the beast, the whole 9 yards, this is it. This is absolutely it, ladies and gentlemen. So just understand that. It's more important than ever to keep independent, true media on air. And when you buy the product...
So, yeah, there you have it. Bold predictions from Alex. He's saying that basically full-blown civil war will happen. It will be known as a civil emergency. It won't be called martial law. It'll be called a civil emergency. And they will take out Trump. They'll take out Alex Jones. They'll take out Senator Paul. They'll take out Joe Rogan. Those are his claims here. He basically predicted his own death. I mean, this is pretty crazy. I don't think he's ever done that before. I haven't listened to every single Jones broadcast. I'm not even close, actually. I mostly just check out clips like this when I see something really crazy out there. But, yeah, very, very bold claims. Very, very specific claims. And one of the most alarming things, of course, is looking at the numbers, because if it's over 10 million military-aged males that were brought into the country illegally, intentionally, to build up cells and carry out so-called incidents, I mean, that's more than the entire size of the U.S. military plus law enforcement. So, my last name says Joe Rogan is in the club. They're not going to take him out. They take out people in the club all the time. If it fits a purpose, they'll take him out. They would definitely take him out, especially if it's going to rile up all the people who don't know that he's in the club, to cause even more strife and discord and ammunition to use, you know, to sow all of the unrest. So they would absolutely take out their own people in the club. So they do it all the time, either when someone's outlived their usefulness or they're more useful dead for a certain purpose. So yeah, very, very scary predictions from Alex Jones. I just wanted to go over it because I haven't seen him this riled up and making these many very, very specific predictions all the time. Justin Johnson said they could easily fake it like they do everything all the time. Yes, it could be faked. Well, I mean, how would we know, really? But, or at least their public persona would be assassinated. Let's put it that way. Whether they really died or not, the public persona would be assassinated or killed. So, yeah, that's it for now. The warning has been issued. The official red alert from Alex Jones has been issued for this summer. Basically now, anywhere between now and the next couple weeks. So, yeah, there you have it, people. So, stock up. Stay safe out there. Again, if what he was saying wasn't true, you know, nobody will really care. But if it turns out to be true, I mean, yeah, I mean, just the amount of stuff he's predicted already, either through inside intel or otherwise. But I believe the quote we're going to go out, the ancient proverb that we're going to go out with this podcast is actually, wow, this is actually a Bible quote. I didn't know it. Corinthians 10:1-13. Forewarned is forearmed. And that's where we will leave it today. Plenty more to come on a plethora of other topics as well. But just wanted to say, for all the critical thinkers out there, the red alert has been issued. So yeah, stock up and stay safe out there. This might be a very interesting summer, to say the least. Hope everybody found another edition of the MindShock podcast interesting and informative. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.